Questions for Coach?
Andy, when Alabama went on that 18-0 run in the middle of the first half, did it feel like the world was ending? I mean, what kind of was going wrong and what changed really quickly?
First off, I thought our approach out of the gate was awesome. You know, Alabama came in as the #1 rated defensive efficiency team in the Southeastern Conference. You saw how big they are. Everything's big about them but their head coach. Can you believe that guy played in the league 15 years? But they are really, really big. So we knew that we had to move them, drive them, make good decisions, and that's exactly what we did early. And then we made shots. It helps when you make shots. So we made shots early. Then we made some mistakes, a couple of turnovers, a couple of ill-advised shots, allowed Alabama. Their first 3 or 4 baskets were run-outs or offensive rebounds. Then they settled in, started moving the ball, relaxed a little bit, made some shots. Really proud of our guys to take that punch and to come right back and finish the half strong. Then we started the second half. I thought we had decent looks at the rim, didn't finish over their length. Alabama got out in the open floor again. Next thing you know, it's a 2 or 3 possession game. Then next thing you know, I think it got down to 1. We might have, I don't know if we actually got behind, but I think we may have only been up 1 and responded. I've said all along, when we get contributions, we really play 5 guards the majority of the time. And Devontae Shuler is a true freshman, so obviously he's like most true freshmen at this time of year. His production has slid off a little bit. Usually they'll kind of get their second wind and respond. But our 4 veterans, Dre, TD, Bree, and Markell, if all 4 of them play well, and they did tonight, then we're a pretty good basketball team.
What did you think about Markell's performance since he's been up and down?
Yeah, and it was great to see the ball go in the basket. He goes 6 for 9. He made a huge play off just a scouting report. You know, he's a 22-year-old post-grad. Scouting report, he knew that guy was going to lift a 50-50 ball. He makes that steal, goes down and gets that dunk, really infused us, got the energy in the building back. And then he made open shots. You know, a lot of times we were doing our job off dribble penetration. Good defensive teams are going to get to the level of the ball. So all of our ball screen action, we were driving it, they were sinking to the level of the ball, and we were executing by making the extra pass. And then at the end of all of that, that's great, but you got to make the shot. And tonight we were fortunate enough to make it.
Once you hit them with that run at the end of the first half, never seemed like they just never really recovered offensively. What did you guys do defensively, do you think, down the stretch?
Our ball screen D is getting better. I think that we did a much better job of just not allowing them to have clear paths to the basket. Obviously, Colin Sexton has not played. We did not know if he was going to play or not. It was an indication of him warming up, and I don't know what he's done in the 2 games that he's missed, but it looked as if he was going to go. We'd prepared for him to go, and he obviously is a handful with his straight-line driving ability, but he wasn't finishing at the rate that he normally does. Some of that was rust, and some of that was us putting bodies on him.
Andy, what do you think the difference between TD is now and really just about a week and a half ago? Is it just the confidence to see him go?
No question. You know, the Arkansas game, despite the loss, he played well offensively. I thought, you know, other than the decisions, he's rebounding the ball. We've only got 2 or 3 guys that can really go up and get real SEC rebounds, and he's one of them. And he was very active in that regard. His decision-making, you know, I'd like to maybe back off the alley-oops to KG about every other trip down the floor. If we could back off that a little bit, everything else is okay.
What did you think about the way you guys handled their pressure?
I thought it was better, you know, and they don't typically do it as much as they did tonight. It bothered us early. We got a 10-second count by just not being aware, not being in our places. But this team has not turned it over much, meaning us. You know, we're a top 20, top 25 in the country in turnover efficiency. In our 3 wins prior to tonight, we'd averaged less than 9. We had 26 total turnovers in the 3 wins, and tonight we have 10. So we've done a better job in that regard. You shoot 50% against, again, the #1 rated defense. We hold our own on the glass. We're making free throws at a decent clip. It was a good team effort.
You mentioned those 3 guards, your veteran guards, playing well. When they are, how much better can y'all spread the floor? Because it seemed like you're able to run some guys off some down screen athletes.
Yeah, and when we played Markell a lot at the forward, simply because of matchups. You know, a lot of times if they have 2 traditional bigs, it's a little more difficult because it's hard to get a rebound. But when they went small, and they had the young man who really, Alex Reese, stepped out and made 2 big threes, 3 big baskets, but he's really a stretch 4, so we could get away with it. He's not they weren't going to post us in the block. So it allowed us to play smaller, and obviously when you play smaller, that's 4 guards, your ball movement's going to be better.
You guys are 4-0 at home now in SEC play. What flipped from non-conference play when you guys were struggling here?
You know, we're struggling because you lose 3 OT games, you know, and they were all vastly different. We dug a huge hole against South Dakota State and then came back and couldn't finish the game. I believe, if I recall correctly, I think we were up 4 with about 2 to play and just couldn't finish the game. Then against Virginia Tech, we responded. Up 16 in the second half in your own building, couldn't make a play at the end, missed some crucial free throws. And then Illinois State, we got an inbound, again, TD, some decisions. We end up getting an inline. Those are plays we have to make. Those are the ones we are making to win these games. If we would have made them then, the situation would be different, but it's not. As I've said many times, the great thing about this league this year is it provides a lot of opportunities, and we have a lot of opportunities in our future. Starting Saturday, I think the Big 12 SEC Challenge is huge for the league. I think people are anxiously awaiting to see how these two leagues stack up head-to-head. And my hope is that we can play well and do our part.
You've said all along you've got to break through on the road at some point. You have some opportunities coming up. Do you think this team has had a couple of close calls last week? It's getting closer to that point where
I think so. I think so. The way in which we played against Florida, we had a lot of momentum going to A&M, and we had a chance. Just didn't quite make the play. Arkansas, we knew their backs were going to be against the wall simply because they had lost a couple in a row, and they came in and shot lights out. For us to even be in that game, I was a little surprised because I don't think, they scored 97 points, shoot 55% from the floor. It was like as if they were on roller skates compared to us. They were just so much faster and moving the ball and making plays. But we hung around. I think we got it down to a 2-point game in the second half, and again, just could not make the play. At home, we've been fortunate enough to do that, but we've got to can it and take it with us.
How much have you looked at Texas? What do you know about
I'm a basketball fan, so at this point, I've seen most everybody. The thing that jumps out, number one, the young man who has been stricken with leukemia, our heart goes out to him. I mean, it kind of puts things in perspective. And that kid was a really good player. And then Mo Bamba is, quite frankly, maybe the best college shot blocker I've ever seen. Some people are saying he may be the best there's ever been. This guy's 6'11". I think he's got a 7'9" wingspan and close to a 40-inch vertical. So a lot of those ill-advised threes, they will be advised on Sunday.
More questions?
Saturday. Maybe Sunday. Parish's church league. You still play in the church league? No, not quite. Gave it up. Probably a good call. Thanks.
All right, thank you.